Well, it's Bonneville upgrade time. The British Customs slammer seat has arrived, so while I get the spanners out, you can watch the intro.
Whoa, Blackbeard, blam, blam. Shut up, Blackbeard. Idiot.
I'm not going to do your full video going through the fitting of this because I'm sure you've seen it all a million times before. There's two bolts at the back bracket. The two hooks in the middle need transferring over to the British Customs seat, which has got a couple of little threaded inserts there ready to take the bolts. What I will do for you though is once I'm going to take some measurements so we can see the height difference between the two, which I think is what a lot of people are concerned about, is that this is thicker, it is taller, it sits up on the frame, and the stock one's quite low. A lot of people want these to increase the seat height, or perhaps, you know, for the shorter guys, they might not want to increase the seat height too much. So I'll take some measurements. I'll take it from a point on the bike, and we'll measure the same point each time and see the difference. And obviously, it's going to increase the seat to peg ratio a bit. Should help out with the comfort. But I'm going to go ahead and get that bolted on once I've taken some measurements of the stock one. The stock seat is about 72 centimeters long. Across the widest part, about 34 centimeters there, just in front of the strap. And if we measure from the top of the side panel, the little rubber grommet there is 135. So that was literally a 3-minute job, including getting the tools out and putting them away again. A 5mm Allen key for the two bolts on the back, a 10mm socket to change the hooks over in the middle. It's fitted on lovely. There's no gap in the tank, which has been reported on some of the British Customs seats. The rear bracket is not touching the mudguard, which has also been reported on some of these. The fit looks really good to me actually. It just sits up on the frame rail rather than covering it up. Really like that. It's got a really nice fitment to the tank, and it doesn't look too bad with the grab rail left on, which I'm going to leave on for now because I'm planning a trip in a couple of weeks that I'm going to have to strap something to for that, so more about that later. Yeah. Ooh, yeah.
Rib for her pleasure. Ew.
About 69 to the end of the pleats.
69, dudes!
About 30 centimeters at its widest point. Let's get the trusty precision measuring tool out. See what extra height it's giving it. So yeah, that was 135 before, it's now 173. Two, 173. So yeah, it's about 37mm taller, give or take. Over an inch difference in height between the two, but this is narrower. So even though it's a bit taller, even if you're short, you might still be alright getting your feet down because it is that bit slimmer through the middle. We best go for a ride then, haven't we?
Don't make me back up, son. Well, yeah, it's definitely taller. It changes the feel of the bike completely. First couple of corners felt really odd. Cover's a bit slippery. I'm moving about a bit on it. I'm not sure if it's ever been treated with anything. This is actually a second-hand seat. I wasn't planning on changing the seat for some time. This was one of the two seats I was considering. I'd narrowed it down. I knew what I wanted, but I didn't have the money for one of these. They're not cheap items. I managed to score one on eBay for a sensible price, and they don't come up very often, so I bit the bullet. I'll give a proper review once I've got some more miles on it, but instant thoughts are, yeah, it's firmer, it's more supportive, it's definitely narrower, it's definitely taller. You can feel the height in it. My knees are more in the tank. My feet feel more natural. My ankles were a bit cramped before. My knees have always been fine on this bike, but I felt my ankles a bit cramped when I moved my toes back onto the pegs. I felt like they were bunching up a bit, especially with these boots. But that feels way more comfortable now, but I am definitely sat up higher. And that's going to take some getting used to, getting into these corners. and certainly with these Kevlar trousers on, I'm sliding around a bit on it. I'll try it with some other stuff. I'll try it with textiles, I'll try it with leathers and see how it feels. I do wear all three varieties depending on what the occasion is and what the weather's doing and what I feel like on the day. But I'll probably test out my leathers on it next and see if they're any grippier. This is the vinyl one, not the leather slammer seat. There is a leather one available, but obviously you get into aftercare is a bit more intense on those. The vinyl ones should be a bit more maintenance free. I love the look of it. The proportions with the rear fender, we might struggle a little bit now. It's a bit shorter. I wanted to keep a rear fender just because, you know, England weather, but the stock one looks a little long with this on it now, even with the smaller rear light. Proportions maybe a bit off now, so I've been looking at the back motorcycles in France, their bobbed rear fender that they do with a little round LED light. That looks kind of hot, but it's not cheap. But it's the best looking rear fender I've found, in my opinion, and it's, you know, it keeps some fender. I don't want to go for a full tail tidy fender delete job. So we'll see what comes up. I'll save some money. As I say, this came about a fair bit earlier than I was planning, just because a good deal came up. So we'll see how it goes. I'll give you some more impressions once I've done a few hundred miles on it. I'm not a fan of reviewing things the moment you get them. See this quite a lot on YouTube. Someone will get a product, review it and say how great it is, but they've only just put it on. You've got to live with it, really. You know, these things have got to last you thousands of miles. They've got to be comfortable for a full day's riding, whether it's gear, whether it's a new seat. You know, like these gloves, I'm getting some miles on them before I do a review of these gloves for you. I've got about 500 miles in them so far, so I feel like it's about time I can talk to you about them. So that'll be coming up soon. And we're going to insert some tighty pan and scans while I go and do some Instagram things here in this bit. But for now, as always, I've been Captain Blackbeard. This is Black and Brown Betty. Tickle that like button if you like what you saw. Don't if you didn't. Subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you all next time. Ride safe, everybody. Peace.